Okay, so I am back home, you guys. The mold has been removed and I am back home. And this is fucking triumphant. Still, everything's sort of just been ripped out. Nothing's been like really replaced yet. But I do not care because I'm back. So this is the bathroom. All of this had to be torn up. Everything had to be everything had to be torn out and everything had to be cleaned. So everything's disheveled and, out of place right now. But it's done. And that's where we were like, we don't have enough money to put everything back, but we can at least tear it out, which was, I think, clutch because otherwise this still wouldn't be done. But so this is kind of how this miracle unfolded. So back like 3 or 4 years ago, that AC was leaking. We thought that was the source of the mold, but it wasn't. We tore it up just to make sure. I had been getting, my guides are actually the ones who showed me that there was mold in the house. The doctors couldn't figure out what was wrong with me, and I kept getting visions of mushrooms. And then finally one night it clicked. I was like, it's mold. And so the hunt began, and we thought it was this, but it wasn't. Years go by. We remedied this. We got a new AC, right? We didn't ever look behind the wall or underneath the thing, but we thought we fixed it. But I was still getting images saying there was still mold. But we were overwhelmed, didn't know where the mold was, and it was going to be too expensive to undo it. So I just sort of just didn't listen to my intuition. Years go by, my breathing issue gets worse and worse and worse. Finally, we get a diagnosis that it's a histamine intolerance connected to the mold, but still aren't sure why it's continuing. So the symptoms get so bad right before I started the Magic Penny experiment. It was actually, the 29th of May was when I had to go to the ER. I was admitted into the hospital. Irregular heartbeat due to not being able to breathe, and this ongoing inflammation from the histamine intolerance. That made it so that I was like, I have to do something. I pretty much just left my house, jumped in my car, and started car camping and was like, we got to figure this out. Well, there was a happy accident. Probably 3 weeks to a month before that time, I was meditating in the bathtub. I woke up with a really bad migraine. I was meditating in the bathtub. The bathtub overflowed and the water came all the way out. Over here, there used to be like a sink here. And literally, I stepped on the floor and I could hear squishing underneath it. And I knew that it had gone underneath. And I was like, great. We're worried about mold. Now I just did this. We're going to have to rip this up. Right? So because of that happy accident, we looked further into the mold. Well, this wasn't the mold spot either. The mold spot was hiding, and we had no idea where it was. But because we were like, okay, we know we have to rip this up. Let's just start here and start ripping stuff up. So we ripped this stuff up. This was actually my best friend who did all of this. And I'll go into further, like all the stuff he had to do. But we were like, we might as well look under here where that original leak was, just to make sure that's legit. That was legit. We updid this because it had to be done. But as we were looking through everything, my best friend was like, should I check like the front door where the front door leaks? And I was like, yeah, you should probably check that. He lifted up that board there and checked it, and that was legit. Then he's like, remember that plant we had that was over here? See how there's a little bit of separation between the wood here? It was right here. He's like, do you think I should do that? And I was like, yes. So he lifted this up, not even suspecting, thinking it was from a plant we used to have there years ago, and ended up noticing there was something weird, like against the wall here. Like the wall was like bowing out. And he looked and he's like, this is the spot. He like unintentionally found the mold. It was a leaky pipe that was behind the wall that there's no way we could have known it was there. Literally, there was no way we could have known that it was a leaky pipe behind the wall if he hadn't just thought, oh, let's check where this plant was. Like literally just figured this out. As soon as I started the Magic Penny experiment, and this was a miracle, like literally we found the hidden mold that has been making me sick, like miraculously and inadvertently. Well, the plumber came out and checked it out, and he said that had been leaking for years. So this has all been ripped out. And my best friend had to literally, he's the one who ripped all this stuff out. Thank God that he is good at, somewhat familiar with, at least knows enough to know how to rip everything out, right? He had to scrub everything from the top to every dust particle, because the mold spores can go on the dust particles. He had to clean every single thing, like every single thing. Like he had to clean this and this and this and these. It took a minute. He had to clean every single thing you see in here. Take everything out. That's why everything's in boxes. So extremely, extremely thankful that for all of the work that he did, and that I am finally home. This is a huge triumph and success. But I wanted to log in and share that with you guys. I am super, super stoked to be home. And I will send lots of love, and I will chime in again a little bit later today.